Hello everybody. You can see something has changed. Well, at first I have positioned my camera better, and now I have this. Cool, right? So now I have a bit of a better setup. You can see me, hopefully not in the awful quality. And my new microphone should arrive shortly, but that's not the point of the video. I wanted to make this video out of the blue because actually I got some cool news. I didn't expect to have this happen. I found an old hard disk in my storage closet. It was 3 terabyte disk, and I was curious what's on it. And once I plugged it in, apparently it has backups of my old computers, which I thought were lost for many years. My family photos, my old projects, my documents. So I wanted to make a brief video on how can you backup your own computer. It should be simple, it will not cost you anything, and it's done just in a few clicks. And maybe 10 years from now you'll be happy that you did the backup. So let's go. You can see there is a hard disk backup V, and on it you have quite a few files. They have some strange extension VVK and VAB. So this was done by a tool called Veeam Backup Endpoint. It's an old tool which I used to have, and it's a free tool. Now the company which developed this tool uses a different branding name, Veeam Agent for Windows and Veeam Agent for Linux. But what's awesome is that I can use the new version of the tool to restore old backups, so it's backwards compatible. So at first let me show you how easy it is to restore data, and then I can show you how you can actually install this program. Well, at first let me go to the website of the company. I actually work for this company, but I'm not going to sell you anything, I promise. There are possibilities to buy paid editions with extra features. You can use the trial version, but I want to give you a fully free experience. So at first, you go to the downloads page on this website, veeam.com, downloads. Then you scroll down and you find the tool called Veeam Agent for Windows, or for Linux if you are using Linux machine. And finally, you click the download product button. Now you may want to log in first, because let me show you how it can be done without even bothering to make an account. So we are clicking downloads, we are finding the product, we are clicking download product button. And now, instead of providing some details, I'm just using the Google credentials. At the bottom left, you can see there is a G icon. I click that, and it logs me into the Google account I want. So it will automatically create the account for me. All right. So on the download page, I'm clicking the download button, and here it is. I'm downloading the zip file. I have already unpacked the zip file onto my backup volume. So the only thing left to do is to double click this exe file, and it will start the installation. It will ask you to agree with some end user agreement as usual, but that's it. So in a few moments, the product will be installed. If you go to the services, you'll see that there will be a new Windows service appearing called Veeam Agent for Windows. Just in a moment. Let's wait for this to get installed. So if you're a user, you download the file, you click the exe file inside of the zip archive, and that's it. And generally, any product can be installed like this. Now, if you check, there's a new service, Veeam Agent for Windows. So after it is installed, it will offer you to prepare recovery media. You may want to do that if you plan a bare metal restore. It means that you want to take a fresh computer and restore everything there, so you will not have to install Windows first. But in my case, I'm mostly interested in the backup of my personal files, so I'm not going to do that now. And now the product is installed. So now if I go to the folder with my backups, you see they have special icons because they are recognized. So I can download the tool and install it in a few clicks, and that's it. So now if I click any of the backups, it will show me all the restore points I have in this folder. So for example, I can see there are some points which are older than 700 days. So it's 2018. So if I select the point and click open, something cool happens. At this moment, the backup is still the same file. So it's not unpacked, it's not unarchived, it's not decompressed. It takes as much space. In this case, I think it's like 75 gigabytes. but I can see everything that is inside of the backup because the backup is mounted. So because the insides of the file are like a small disk, just compressed, this is like opening a zip folder. So now I can browse any of my files and let's say photos, and look, there are the files, and I can double click and see the file itself. Oh, this is my cat. I'm so sad it's gone. It was a very nice cat. I actually loved it. But now I can still use the photo of the cat as my desktop if I want to remember it. Hopefully it's not very creepy. So I just right click, click copy to, and say let's go to the C drive. And after I do that, on my C volume I'll find the photo. Easy. Also, if you are curious about specifics, whenever you mount the backup, it goes mounted to specific folder, CVMFLR. So it may appear as you have your files here, but in reality they're not on your C drive, they're just connected to it, mounted from the backup. And what's cool that I can go to the same folder, right? And I see the thumbprints, so I can actually browse and review what's inside of my files. And I can also copy paste them to a different location like I would do with normal disk. And if I close this backup, let me show you. So as soon as I close the backup, it will automatically unmount the folder, and you will no longer have these backups here. See, it's gone. Okay, so now how do I do the actual backup? So if I go to the start and type Veeam, I'll find this program which will open shortly. It will ask me to install the license. If I had the license, I would do that, but I don't. It's a free mode. And now I want to go here and actually make a job. Let me remove the old one because I configured it before. So I go to the menu and click Add New Job. If you had a paid edition, you would have multiple jobs, but it's enough for me to have one backup going periodically. Okay, so I give it a name like my PC backup, and you can leave the description, doesn't matter. And here you select the backup mode. This is one of the most important settings. The entire computer will backup everything. I don't want to do that because I do not want to backup my V volume. It's a volume which will contain backups. So there is no point to put backups into backups. I can also choose volume level backup. This is what I will use. So I can select to backup only C and E, and I could also go to the file level backup, which will allow me to specify a folder, let's say only my documents. But that would take more time if I was going for multiple volumes, because it will actually have to like understand which part of the disk to backup. If I go with the whole volume, it will backup the volume entirely, so it will not have to search for the file structure. Okay, so I'm going with the volume level backup. I'm selecting my volume C with the operating system, which includes hidden partitions, and E. And as a target, I'll select local storage. So in this case, I want to back up to my V volume. I could back up to a shared folder, which would let me select like IP address and credentials for another device, like NAS storage. I could select Veeam backup repository, and in this case, you would want to specify the DNS name or IP address of backup solution server if you use Veeam backup like product itself. There is also a free edition of that. I can show you that for virtualization. Or you could use OneDrive backup where you just log in, but right now you cannot really do that because it's kind of behind the paywall. I don't need it because what I usually do, I copy my data to OneDrive myself with specific synchronization settings. So let's go with the volume level backup with local storage and with my V volume, where I specify the folder. It will go to the this PC Veeam backup. Okay, and then I can also map backup. It's an extra action which I do if I want to continue the backup which I had before. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so one important setting here is how many days do you want to keep the backups for. And this is not a continuous days, it's how many restore points. So let's say if you backup every Sunday, if you set it to 7, you'll keep 7 backups of 7 Sundays. If you backup every day, you'll only be able to restore a week ago. So this is a schedule. And finally, there is an option in advanced where you can create full backups periodically. I would recommend to do full backups from time to time because the thing is, if you don't do backup on a full mode sometimes, you would only have one full backup, that's like everything in your archive, and then incremental backups, which are just differences. So if you ever lose your full backup, you'll be unable to use Veeam incremental backups without full backup. So the full backup is like everything, and incremental is just additional incremental backup with new changes over time. They take less space, but they cannot be used to restore independently. So you may go with one full backup, but remember that if you lose it, you will lose all your backups. So you may want to make them periodically, right? And that's it. Then I just configure how often, so I can go to the specific days and select only on Saturday, for example. That's what I usually do. And then I can also configure extra triggers, such as when the computer is logged, and no more than 2 times per hour or 1 time per day even, when you log off, or when you connect specific backup targets. So you can configure USB disk. So as soon as you plug it in, it will start the backup. All right. And it will also give you an option here to backup immediately. So if it's your first setup, you can do that. And let's run the job. So let's see what happens. When you run the job, you can actually see the statistics. And something cool I didn't know about before myself, in the free mode, this backup solution still depends on Microsoft VSS, Volume Shadow Copy. This is something I have video about, you can check it online. My video explains how VSS works, but generally it means that if you have transactional applications such as databases, Active Directory, Exchange servers, normally you don't want to back them up in hot mode because they can be like a pending transaction, for example, saving to database. And if you interrupt it with a backup snapshot, it can create a database which is not readable. But because you use Volume Shadow Copy, your applications are prepared for the backup by Microsoft, the same that happens when you do Windows backup. And because this happens, even in the free edition, theoretically you could backup your production SQL servers if you decide to go with this free tool. You are missing on a lot of functionality, for example, log backup, granular restore of items, but you can still do the backups and you can still restore them as whole volume or as specific files. As you can see now, it's creating VSS snapshot. So to summarize, we go to veeam.com and downloads. We log in with any account, maybe with Google account. We select the product, which is called Veeam Agent for Microsoft Windows, in this case free. And there is also a section which you may be interested in if you want to explore it by yourself. You can go to support, resources, technical documentation. And this is where you can see all the startup guides and settings and user guides for different products. For example, if we go for product Veeam Agent for Microsoft Windows, you can find the configurator reference and user guide, which includes information necessary if you want to select and find every option that is there. Let me give you an example. I'm clicking on HTML version because it's easier for me to read. I'm going to performance backup, configuring backup job, and this is where I go basically through every step I showed you, and every button and option is explained, even advanced options. There are some settings like guest processing which are not available in free edition, but you can still utilize most of the features. If you don't want to watch my video again next time you set it up, you can actually read through every setting here. And I would advise you to come back to my channel and ask any questions if something is unclear, because typically user guide is done in a simple language, but maybe some options make not much sense to you. So I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So we go to veeam.com, we go to download section, we log in with credentials after clicking on Veeam Agent for Windows download button. You can use Google, you can use our own email for login. We unpack and run exe program and agree with user agreement, and that's it. You are ready to backup. After you start Veeam Agent for Windows, you can trigger the backup immediately and you can make a schedule of it. I didn't plan to do this video, but I did because I was very happy to find my old photos. So please spend 10 minutes of your life and make a backup to some old disk or some USB storage. You will not regret it 10 years later. Like right now, it wasn't 10 years, it was 4 or 3 years, but I'm still very happy to find my old photos and my old projects. And the next video, I promise I'm going to do the better microphone. I'm looking for the delivery. I'm looking forward to it. If you have any other questions or if you have any recommendations or requests for videos, I will be waiting for your comments as well. And I hope you can protect yourself as well as you protect your data. Have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.